Oh no. It's a little slippery. Hope my truck stays put. Jeepers. What a mess. Well, besides it being a rainy, muddy mess, it is definitely go time, and I thought I was all up to speed with everybody else, but before this last rain we had a bunch of guys out planting. I can only assume beans because ground's still a little cold to do corn in my taste anyway. But I bought a fertilizer spreader yesterday because I'm still waiting for a co-op spreader. And I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, not ragging on them at all. They're keeping up pretty good, and even the guys that got their own spreader, they keep them going, even with all their spreaders out. So I bought a fertilizer spreader. Currently, I don't know what I'm going to put on it. I have an idea, but yeah, I don't know. It needs hydraulics, which rules out the 1, 2, and 50, because the PTO works, but the hydraulic don't. And I got one tractor that has a PTO, and the hydraulics work, but they leak quite a bit, and I guess we're just going to add a hydraulic fluid. And there's a lot I still want to do with this tractor, but it's just time to go, so we're going to go. Now, I did change the oil in this tractor, and I did fill it up with hydraulic fluid. Did put a new radio in it because it didn't have one before, and our new fertilizer spreader has some cheap little backup camera to watch the spinners, so we got a little monitor for that in here. And yeah, these old tractors don't have anywhere to hide wires behind trim pieces and whatnot, so that's something I definitely want to do sometime down the line. And there's a lot of other things I want to do with this tractor, but quite frankly, even if I parked it here to do those things, I'm not going to get to them till hopefully sometime this summer. So I might as well use it till then. And that is the exact same train of thought I had when I first pulled this tractor out of the shed instead of just finishing it. And that is why project tractors are never finished. One of the things I really want to get done with this tractor is get a second battery in it, because right now it's only running on one, and well, it just makes it start a little hard, and that's probably not the best for the starter, but I also got to do some work on my tat, because that ain't working right now either. And once again, I am parked right into a corner, and we're going to have to try to get this thing out somehow. Oh, yeah. Well, here she is in all her glory. Nothing crazy. I think it's like a 6.5 ton. It's got some uglies, a little bit of rust there, but don't you worry about that. The actual tank itself is stainless, so you know that won't rust away, but everything else will. It says it's a 50-foot spread, so that's what we're gonna call it. It's got the little wheel that engages over there, and then it's got another on-off. That's this hydraulic cylinder, which this is just a spring coupler. They engage and disengage, so what I might do in the future is just let that stay engaged and replace this with the hydraulic cylinder. That way it's on, not once you get to the field, turn that on, and then turn that on when you want to spread. So it's kind of just a goofy setup. The little subframe under there, it's got some rust, but the best part about this thing is no leaf springs. Our old fertilizer spreader had leaf springs that just constantly wanted to break, and yeah, bad things happen. But I got a battery in a box here because this thing actually has a little backup camera deal right there. That way you can keep an eye on the spreaders and everything with a little monitor in the cab, which I don't know, when I talked to the guy, I imagined the bigger, like 7-inch and the heavier duty typical ag cameras that a lot of equipment has, and this is, well, you can tell that was made to go over a license plate, so that's probably a $30-$40 Amazon special. But I hooked it up to that battery just to test it, and lo and behold, she actually works. I got the monitor up there so I can keep an eye on it. It's smaller than my phone, so that's good enough, I guess. Nothing to write home about, but it'll work. It should. Anyway, I'm hoping we can get through this year without any trouble, and hopefully before next year, like I said, do that hydraulic ram and get that stuff fixed up. But it should work. Hope so, anyway. Bought it right, so I think new ones are like $20,000, and I spent less than a quarter of that, so that should be good. Should be, hopefully. It's got almost new tires on it, and these are actually the same size as a Slinger manure spreader tire, so worst comes to worst, I got new tires. And I really wasn't even gonna buy a fertilizer spreader, like I said, but I had some money set aside to buy a rake, to buy a new rake, and I found one that was cheaper than new, but like new shape, and I was gonna go buy that, and that wouldn't have left me enough money left over to go buy this. And then I found another rake that was like new, is an older model, Kuhn, which is actually the same model we used to have. Probably been better part of 10 years, so it's got some age on it, but from the pictures it looks beautiful. So with that rake bought way cheap, and this spreader bought way cheap, it was less than the price of a new rake, but 2 is better than 1. I mean, I've been fixing and fabricating stuff enough to get by for a lot of years, and by golly, sometimes that stuff comes in handy. So yeah, I don't know, hopefully this weather turns around and we can get some spreading done, because now that I see everybody going, now I'm should probably get going. And the worst part is the hay is already damn near knee tall, so won't be long we'll be haying too. And it's looking like this thing's probably going to be my raking tractor, because the 270 still needs an overhaul, and I'm a little busy to tear the tractor apart right now. So hopefully we can get the corn planted, hay in, get that 270 in, get that thing overhauled, and that'll ease up a little bit. Oh yeah, then we have a full manure pit that we got to keep spreading that, so I don't know when, but stuff should slow down here soon, you would think. Probably not. This is just life now. This is the way it is, but yeah.
Well, so far, about 6 acres in, the new fertilizer spreader is working all right. Thank God. Even my little spinner camera is working pretty good, so everything's going all right so far. Hopefully it stays this way. You know, I was real concerned because this will be the first year in a lot of years that I planted spread fertilizer without guidance, GPS guidance, and if you don't know the difference, guidance just shows you a little light bar how far over you should be. Auto steering is where it actually turns the wheel and you don't have to touch it. We had guidance for about the last 7-10 years, and that made this job a lot easier. And yeah, I was worried that I was really going to need that, and lo and behold, I probably really need that, because I am not doing the best of job, but I'm doing an okay job. And by golly, the old white is doing an okay job too. Yeah, that's an Amazon special right there. I don't know. The guy threw that in, he actually wanted an extra $50 for it. And I figured, well, hell, it's already on it, whatever. Yeah. I'm thinking by next year I'm gonna get a different camera. Because it is handy. But this one sucks. And you know, it used to be, I didn't think we could really use auto steer. One, because our fields really ain't that big and they're just goofy oddball shaped, and half the time you have to steer with the brakes. Granted, this has not been worked, and once you work it, it gets a little slipperier, I guess, for lack of a better word. And yeah, usually spreading fertilizer, you do just about as much steering with the brakes as you do the steering wheel. And auto steer doesn't know how to work the brakes, so it just keep on turning. Where, I don't know, it might just be the tractor, or probably more so because this hasn't been worked, but I haven't had to touch a brake all day, so I don't know, maybe this old girl will get some auto steer. I bet it'd like that. Big leader, if you're listening, I would love to be sponsored. Ball's in your court. I literally had about 100 yards and then another 300-yard pass, and I would have been done with this field. But I ran out. Damn it. Damn it, I was so close. I hope I just ran out too, otherwise this is going to be a hard one to find my spot. I'm seeing a few little bits, but god dang it. Damn it. Oh, that sucks. The going was finally getting good and I got distracted. I guess we'll just respread it. Yeah. Damn. So that's where it was. Here's my track. Guessing I ran out right about there, because there's a little bit just there. And then my other track is just right there. So yep, just one more pass. Okay. That video is half for you and half for me to remember what I did and didn't do. Well, we got a light little rain. I had to wait till about 2:30 before I could get back out here, but got the rest of this farm spread, so that's about 30-ish acres down. I went back and it rained light enough I could still see my tracks from where I ran out. I was going straight parallel with the other lines, and when I ran out I kinked it off tight at a 90, so that was actually fairly easy to find, which is a good thing. Oh man, I can't wait to next year. The spreader just doesn't make much sense. Either that or I was spoiled with our last spreader, which was a shot, worn out spreader, but to engage and disengage it, it was just a hydraulic cylinder that ran that wheel. This one, it's got that wheel on a jack. That puts it in field mode. And then to turn it on and off, you have this apparatus. That basically, I'm just gonna lock that on. That'll be ran off a
hydraulic cylinder, but I mean, it works, don't get me wrong. I ain't complaining too much, or any more than usual, I guess, but yeah. One farm done, and it's gonna rain again tonight, so, and actually most of tomorrow, so I don't know. I look in the forecast and it's just rain, rain, and more rain. Whatever. Well, we've been dodging rain and spreading fertilizer, and when it's too wet to be out in the field, I've been in the shed. Finally getting after the 270, and I was really hoping I'd just pull the head gasket off and see a blatant spot where it was blown, but the thing looks brand new yet, which it's 40 years old, so that was surprising. I did get one piston out already. At first glance it looked pretty good, but underneath, below the actual compression chambers, there's a little bit of scarring in there. Don't know if you can really see it on, yeah, it chewed up. The crank looks real good. The bearings don't look half bad. I think we're just gonna put new bearings in the same size, and actually they're still a standard size. The piston, saw some rubbing, and after I pulled it out, a piston ring fell off and was broken too. So yeah, it's probably not a terrible thing that it started leaking coolant, and judging by what they tell me, when I get the head back for this, hopefully that's not cracked and it's okay and ready to go. But these this is a wet sleeve engine, so these piston sleeves actually have an O-ring at the bottom of them that seals the coolant. So as I get further along here, I'm hoping, what I should have done was pop the pan off right away with the head still on and coolant in it, and I could have seen if it was leaking around there, but to be honest, I didn't think of that. I didn't think of that, to be honest. But, and in my defense, I didn't know that you could pull the pans off these tractors and drop it out. I thought you had to pull the whole engine out, because I'd done that before, but that was to do a clutch, and it took some doing, but I was able to get the pan off. There's not a whole lot of room in these, so I didn't do that. But as I go along, maybe there's still enough antifreeze in there that it'll leak down, which, I mean, I'm gonna do it anyway, so I guess it'd be nice to know exactly what happened. But it's either gonna be in the head, which when they check it they'll be able to tell, or it's those O-rings, which it's getting new sleeves and new O-rings anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's more for if I knew it was obviously that O-ring, I wouldn't worry about getting the head checked. But 310 Waukesha's heads aren't the strongest. I got a Oliver 1855 out there with a banana shaped head, so no big deal, really. I just gonna get it overhauled and onto a rake. Well, we're gonna get some more fertilizer spread, and this strip was supposed to be killed off. It don't look like it killed off the greatest. That sucks. Yeah, if I didn't know any better, I'd say this grass is a little Roundup resistant. You can kind of see the leaves are curled up a little bit, but it is definitely not dead. So that's kind of a bummer. Oh well, what do you do? I'm betting it had more to do with the fact that it rained the night this was sprayed, so probably not ideal. It did a good job killing off what little alfalfa was still in here though, so that's alright. Well, you probably can't see it on camera, but this is that field that I seeded down at night. Oh God, it's probably
been about a week ago, and it's up, and you can just barely make out a row, but it's growing. Give it another week, that stuff will be up and out, looking just awesome. So that's a good sight to see. Well, we have ran out, and I forgot to pull the PTO all the way off, so the brake engages, but that's fine. No, I did a round, and then I came back for my second round in here, and I had fertilizer right there, so we ran out somewhere in there. So I think I got about half a load, or half a fill of this spreader on the tender at home. So we're gonna go get that, spread that off, and about the time I get done spreading that off, we should have another 10-ton coming, which will fill the tender, fill this spreader, and we'll be able to go again until tonight, and then it's gonna rain. Well, I was recording that and I got cut off by my dad, and apparently my load of fertilizer is here an hour and a half early. I also got delayed a good hour this morning, so time is just doing good things for me today. I love it. Well, we got back, and since I wasn't able to spread off what was left in that tender, we had to fill up this fertilizer spreader really full, which I don't have a whole lot of faith in it. Not that the frame is super bad, but it ain't super great. So we didn't go very far with a full load. We just literally went to the top of the hill from the farm, and I'm gonna spread here quick, which whatever, it needs to get spread sometime. We're probably gonna go for a lot heavier rate, being that this farm is so close. Well, there's the farm. This is where we're spreading. So it's pretty close to the pit. It gets a lot of manure dumped on it, and it was even in beans last year. So yeah, gonna have a lot of nitrogen on it, getting a good rate spread on it. Basically, we're just gonna skip this when we do our top dressing later this year, so should work out. Well, boys and girls, we got a problem. My power shift is stuck in under. I could get by if it was stuck in over direct, but under freewheels if you go downhill, so that's not ideal. Let's see if we can get her figured out. Well, my 3-speed and the linkage is in there behind the tin. Ain't no way to get at it, especially with a nice hot engine. So we're gonna do the dumb thing and just try to get this spread, and guess I'm gonna have to use my brakes to keep her from freewheeling, but not much I can do in the field. Well, we were on the way home. The white had a catastrophic hydraulic leak. That's why that tire is so shiny. I got the fertilizer spreader behind me. Behind me even farther is the sheriff, who ran traffic control while we got all this loaded up and taken care of. But yeah, not a fun day. Not a fun day at all. And just a quick little side note for you kids out there trying to pick out a best friend. If his dad's the sheriff, he comes in handy every now and then. Well, the sun is going down. I kind of needed a win. I got all the fertilizer tender, which is full. Fertilizer spreader's probably got 1 ton on there, which holds 6.5, so it's not that full at all. Got that home. Everything's in the shed. I thought I needed a win, so I cleaned all the garbage out of my truck, which was about 2 seat bags full plus some. And yeah, that's why I like regular cab trucks. You're less inclined to just throw garbage over the seat until it becomes a mountain. I found a brand new Gatorade, so that's something. But yeah, the white, it's a blown hose, which ain't that big of a deal.
it's more of an issue than it looks like. Originally I thought I smoked the clutch in the 3-speed because I heard a and smoke before I saw hydraulic oil going anywhere. So that's not a huge fix. It's just, it's gonna be probably a little hard to track down exactly what hose or line is leaking, and then depending on what it is and where it goes, it might be a real pain to switch it or swap it with a new one, but definitely easier than the 3-speed clutch. So I'm thinking the main reason that thing blew is my compensator valve is not working like it should, because my hydraulics are running hot, very hot. So we're gonna get that line fixed, we're gonna get that valve figured out. The other two 150 sitting there, we're gonna get the hydraulics working on that about the same time. So I'm gonna sit on my flatbed and just watch the cows out on pasture for a while. Because sometimes days just suck, but you just gotta make do with what you got, I guess. So we're gonna make do. But until next time, thanks for watching. Keep her tuned. Subscribe if you're not. Leave a comment if you want. And I can't wait, because I'm pretty tired. I hallucinated a walrus laying in the field. Don't know where that came from, but you'll have that. Away we go.